Okay, so this is gonna be kind of random start to the video, but I want to give some context before I dive right into this. So I've been a fan of Dove Cameron for quite some time. I really like her music. I really like her Instagram aesthetic. Weird, I know, but I'm an aesthetic kind of person sometimes when it comes to my like scrolling online. I don't know, pretty accounts make me feel happy. And I've just really enjoyed her music and her Instagram and everything. And I've been a fan of and following her for quite some time. I've never ever seen any of her shows though. And Descendants is something that I hear about all the time. I do actually hear about it all the time. Why do I hear about it all the time? I don't know. But I hear about it a lot and I've always been curious about it, and I finally dived into the trilogy, and so that's what this video is going to be about. I watched all 3 movies in one day while I was sick and had a fever, and I feel like I went through a different world. I feel like having a fever and watching Descendants is kind of it's interesting. I don't recommend it, but it is interesting. So these films are fun but ridiculous and kind of stupid and very cheesy, but I found myself really enjoying it, and it was a fun time. I won't lie, it was a pretty fun time. The first film came out in 2015. It's cheesy and fun. So the premise of the first film is following kids from the Isle of the Lost who are children of famous Disney villains. They live across the sea. I think it's a sea. I don't know, there's a big body of water. From Auradon, which is where all of the heroes and Disney princesses and good people from Disney movies live. And it's ruled by Belle and Beast. Now, when I was doing my research, everything kept saying King Beast, and I'm sorry, that's weird. I'm not gonna say it. Maybe it's because I watched Once Upon a Time and the Beast is Rumpelstiltskin to me. I don't know. That's very fresh in my mind, but I don't know the Beast's real name. I'm not calling him the King Beast. I'm just calling him the Beast, okay? So we start off with Ben, who is the son of Belle and Beast, and he is ascending to the throne, and his first royal decree is to allow some kids from the Isle of the Lost to come to Auradon Prep to see if to like start implementing some of the VKs, the villain kids, into the good guy society. This is where Mal, Maleficent's daughter, Evie, Evil Queen's daughter, Jay, Jafar's son, and Carlos, Cruella Deville's son, come in. The thing is though, these kids don't just come over to Auradon super grateful. They come over with a plan, and their plan is to steal the fairy godmother's wand so that way they can free their parents and all the other villains from the Isle of the Lost and take over Auradon. The VKs find themselves at first not like purposely standing out, and then they start struggling to fit in, and then they find themselves making genuine connections, and it's just a film of them starting to question the morals and the way that they were raised and their beliefs, and really starting to discover who they are. And who they are challenges what their parents want and believe them to be. So it's a whole film about finding yourself and your identity. There's a whole thing with Mal seducing Ben with a love potion and blah blah blah. Not a lot happens. Like when you start kind of thinking about it, not a lot happens. There's a lot of high school. It's a school. High school type of stuff happening. But essentially the film wraps up with a grand epic battle. Pretty poor CGI, honestly. But a grand epic battle between Mal and Maleficent. And Maleficent ends up losing because Mal embraces the power of love, and Maleficent turns into a lizard. Never shows up again. I want the lizard back. And the VK kids decide to stay on Auradon and choose good over evil, or did they? Because Mal's eyes at the very last shot of the film turn green. It's a cute film. It's cute. The songs are a little too auto-tuned. The dance numbers look fun, but they're not very polished, which is kind of cool because it kind of looks like in some points that they just randomly started dancing, which is kind of a fun play on the idea of like musicals where like everyone just randomly starts dancing. But with the songs and with how auto-tuned they were, like it bothered me. It bothered me. Evil Like Me though was fantabulous. Kristen Chenoweth, don't know if I'm getting that name right, but Kristen Chenoweth is freaking, oh, hello, hi. Nope, not that way. If you hear whining or panting or crashing, it's my dog, because he's like a bowl in a china shop. But yes, as I was saying, Kristen Chenoweth adds so much to the songs, especially like Evil Like Me. She's fantabulous, great, love her. All of the parents really add some nice chemistry and some nice back and forth with the cast of kids who are pretty talented, but obviously the cast of kids are pretty good. They're not the strongest, but they're pretty good. So let's move on to Descendants 2. So again, I haven't really paid attention to this film series before. I had no idea what I was getting myself into, and when Dove Cameron, aka Mal, came out with blonde hair, I was very, very surprised, because I didn't know that she ever had blonde hair in the Descendants series. So that was startling. Anyways, they're still living in Aradon, but now Mal is having some she's having some questions about herself and her identity, because she's not as picture perfect as she pretends to be, and she's actually been using a lot of her evil spellbook magic to try and fit in, and it's starting to overwhelm her, the perfectionism. And she, feeling stressed, goes back to Isle of the Lost because she feels that she can never fully adapt to being what Aradon expects of her and what Ben expects of her. But lo and behold, there's a new queen bee on Isle of the Lost, a new villain that has taken Mal's former queen bee place, and her name is Uma, and she is the daughter of Ursula. And Uma and Mal don't get along. They haven't gotten along since, I guess, Mal didn't include Uma in the cool kids club. And this hostility between the two of them, this rivalry, really pushes the plot of this whole film. Part of Uma's entourage is Harry, Hook's son, and Gil, Gaston's son. I really like the little pirate duo, or group, trio, whatever. I think it adds some fun color to the groups, some interesting dynamics. I like the fashion, I like the colors, I really like the actor who plays Harry, Thomas Doherty. He is really good at what he does. He's really good at stealing every scene, and he's just very charismatic and really pops out and connects with the camera, and I thoroughly enjoyed every time he popped up on screen. Ben, Evie, and Carlos go to Isle of the Lost to rescue Mal. There's a really fun dance number and song with Ben having to learn to be evil. Some shenanigans ensue, and for the rest of the film they go through belonging and identity and acceptance, and there's a weird little love triangle thing with Uma, Mal, and Ben that doesn't really go anywhere. That's kind of useless to the plot. I don't enjoy this part. This one was kind of annoying. I really liked Mal and Uma kind of identifying on a similar level, but then it gets destroyed because love triangle things. I don't really like how much Mal can't accept herself until she realizes Ben has always accepted her whole self. So that kind of irritated me. But overall, the music has definitely improved in Descendants 2. The dance numbers are a lot cleaner. The production's a lot cleaner. I enjoyed it. It was fun. There was a lot of snarky, fun, sarcastic bits that comes from old Disney. It reminded me of old classic Disney humor. And I very much enjoyed it. It was very fun. Enjoyed this film. It kind of lost me at the end, but overall, very much enjoyed this one. Descendants 3. This one kicks off with Mal, Evie, Jay, and Carlos bringing more VKs over to Aradon, but lo and behold, as they're doing this, the boundary, whatever layer, as it's closing, Hades nearly breaks through. Mal fights him off, but he almost takes all of her power, and they are thoroughly scared because how are they going to keep back Hades? He is a god. He isn't just a villain. And Mal comes up with the great idea of just closing the gate forever. And then this leads to Audrey, who is the daughter of Sleeping Beauty, to stealing the fairy godmother wand. And she becomes a villain, and she starts setting all of Aradon under a sleeping spell because she's upset that Ben never got back with her. and stuck with Mal because Audrey and Ben were dating in the first film. They broke it off pretty quickly. They didn't seem to really like each other very much, so like whatever. And then him and Mal are going strong, and she's just upset because she's a princess daughter and Mal is a villain child, so not allowed. So it becomes a whole thing of Audrey being a villain. And this is where we learn that Mal is also the daughter of Hades, and so she needs a stone that Hades has that saps power. She needs that stone in order to beat Audrey. She also recruits Uma to help her out, and so they become a duo within the VKs. And yeah, Hades is kind of boring. I don't really enjoy him very much. Like, he's fine, he's okay, his character design is bland, the actor doesn't have that much on-screen chemistry in my opinion. I just didn't enjoy him very much. I thought it could have been done a little bit better. I liked him and Mal singing together, but again, I just kind of wanted more oomph. She had a lot, like Mal had a lot with her mother with Maleficent, and it was really fun. Like the Evil Like Me song was really fun. I already forgot the song that they sang together, that Hades and Mal sang together, so I was just hoping for a little bit more. A Disney generic fight happens at the end of the film with Mal and Audrey, and the latter, Audrey, ends up being just forgiven for everything, and the barrier of the Isle is taken down, and the villains and heroes intermingle, and everyone is happy. The end. I had some problems with this film because there was a lot of narrative choices that just didn't really make sense. I know it's a kids film, but D2 it felt like it was taking a little bit more of a mature route, a little bit more aiming more for like teenagers, and not treating the audience not treating the audience like they couldn't figure things out for themselves. D3 kind of felt like they were babying the audience the whole time, and it was just very abrupt how certain things ended, and some of the executions for some of the ideas, like a lot of the ideas were great, but how they executed it weren't that great. It felt very rushed at times. It felt very flimsy in some of its logic. One of the things that really put me off right at the beginning of the film was Dizzy, who is Anna Cathcart. I think that's her name. I keep messing up her name. But love her. Did not know she was in these films. Had no idea. But at the end of D2, Dizzy was invited over to Auradon. But then at the beginning of D3, it turns out that she is being re-recruited for Auradon along with other VKs. But she was already invited at the end of D2, so like what happened in between where she didn't immediately go? Because like this film takes place a little bit, like a portion of time after D2, so that threw me off immediately. And then I know this might be a little too much for like a Disney kids musical film, but like, why couldn't the Isle have just been improved? Like, why couldn't life have just been improved upon the Isle? Why did kids have to keep getting taken out and introduced into Auradon? Like, couldn't they have like improved? Like, they could still do that, but couldn't they have like tried to like help conditions there? Like Mal, Evie, Carlos, Jay, they're all from there. They know what can make life easier and better there. So why wasn't there any effort to help that out? And then with Mal making the immediate decision to like close the barrier forever, like again, where was like the effort to like help out and make life easier? Like they know, they live there. I personally enjoyed Descendants 2 the best. I think it was the best one out of all of them. I know this was kind of a rapid fire, but yeah, I like Descendants 2 the best. I think it was what took everything that was good, like all the cool ideas about Descendants from the first film, and polished them up, and was a pretty big improvement. And I think Descendants 3 was just kind of like more, it was still fun, but it was a lot more rushed and didn't seem as polished and as well executed as Descendants 2. That's just my opinion. Overall though, this trilogy is fun. It's not the best thing in the world. It's not, Oscar worthy, but it's fun. It's cheesy. It's a Disney trilogy of villain kids. The songs are catchy. The dances are fun to watch. The actors are adorable. I love all of them. They're so cute. And yeah, it was just it was just a fun time. Sometimes it's just fun to just sit on the couch, put on a silly movie, and turn off your brain for a little bit. And these were the perfect ones for me. Anyways, I know this was rushed. I know this was kind of all over the place, but I hope you enjoyed this. If you've seen these films, what are your opinions on them? Did you enjoy these? Did you not? Let me know. What are your opinions? Do you agree with me on any of this? Let me know. If you enjoyed this film, please leave a like. And if you want to see more content like this, please subscribe. Until next time, bye.